You're going to hear about dinosaurs. And we know that you're here by divine appointment. We've got some great welcome package in the back. We've got those darling little red buckets we have every Sunday. And there's a place in there to pray. And our prayer chaplains are both here today, so thank you, Jackie and Kristen. They'll be at the front of the room if you're not over there at the cake table or behind over there with Phil. But what we appreciate about our chaplains is that they hold the space. They hold the space for us for prayer, for peace, for love, wisdom, strength, understanding. That's what we do here. And that's what they do for us, even when we're eating. So it's good to know. All right. And in this consciousness, I want to also remind you about the blessing and the names in the prayer box. And whenever we pray too for those people, for their needs, for their desire to have health and well-being and abundance. For we know that when two or more are gathered in my name, there I am. There I am. Today is the second Sunday of Lent, and the word for today is imagination. I fill my mind with positive imaginings. I see my life as it was meant to be. Good and beautiful. I see my life as it was meant to be. We experience that love and joy and abundance by imagining with perfect assurance that we will experience those qualities. Charles Fillmore writes in Keep a True Lent, everything that is manifest was first a mental picture and was brought into expression by the forming power of imagination. Everything started somewhere up here in someone's mind. You create your own world. You draw to you your own good. And just like a building before it's constructed had to have a blueprint, that's what an architect does. That's what we're doing with our life right now. That's what Charles Fillmore is saying. You don't like your life? You get a do-over. Create a new one. Your words have the power beyond measure, for is it not said, ye are gods, and all of you, the children of the Most High. So let us, in that knowing, begin with the power of our affirmations today for our life, for the lives of those that we love, and for our world. There's only one presence, one power, one love, active in my life, God the good, omnipotent. There is only one presence, one power, one love, active in my life, God the good, omnipotent. And for those that we love and hold close, I invite you to think of them as we say, there's only one presence, one power, one love, active in your world today, God the good, omnipotent. There is only one presence, one power, one love, active in your world today, God the good, omnipotent. And there's only one presence, one power, one love, active in this ministry. And as Dorothy used to say, you're the ministry, folks. So there is only one presence, one power, one love active in this ministry. God the good, omnipotent. Together. There is only one presence, one power, one love active in this ministry. God the good, omnipotent. And for our world, for our dear, wonderful world, we affirm for our world there is only one presence, one power, one love, active in the world today. God the good, omnipotent. Together. There is only one presence, one power, one love, active in the world today. God the good, omnipotent. Thank you, God. We had the pleasure of meeting with Jim Blake, who's the head of Unity. Some form of Unity. There's kind of two forms, and he's the head of Unity that has the silent unity in the village and the good stuff.
Someone else is best.
I wasn't going to be judgmental for a living, but it slips out every once in a while. And he's just a great guy. And we were telling him, because he was kind of interested in our little group here. He's like, you guys meet? You don't have a church? I'm like, no church. This is our church. We create our own sanctuary. You sing out of hymnals? Oh, yeah. We love our hymnals. Yep. We love the hymnals. He said, we got three things going for us. Music, meditation, and message. If you want the big band sound, it's out there. But here, we create that consciousness to pray, because that's what we do best. I thought I'd share that. Well, your board's pretty committed to that, so don't be asking for any big bands. Thank you, Nancy, our book person, and she has a plethora of books back there for you. And we bring you only the best. So we search through it for you. And we also give it to you at our cost. So we're not making any money on that, but Suzanne Garfield-Jones over there is kind of with Nancy, the collaborator of keeping the book table full. We invite you to visit our website. Yes, clap for Suzanne. We invite you to visit our website. If you sign up for our email, then you'll get a direct link to the YouTube, and then you can hear the messages. And I forgot to ask Bob if we were going to upload the workshop that Jim did last week. So we are. He's nodding yes. So that workshop was pretty amazing. It was just a Q&A, and if you didn't have time to stay for it, it will be uploaded to the website. We have a little bit of a lag time because we have to go all the way to Arizona and then back but it'll be there. And here's under the So Cool category, in talking with Jim. He said that he is, Unity has collaborated or partnered with Amazon. And now if you have Amazon's Alexa and you say, give me a daily meditation, it will actually repeat the daily word. Isn't that powerful? Those folks don't even know what they're getting, but they're getting it. And how many people came to Unity because of the daily word? So, as I said, Jim's doing really way cool things. You've already noticed what we have our dear Minister Emeritus. Oh, look at it's like slipped off my ear. Sorry, folks. Who is speaking today? And as we know, some of Phil's messages are profound.
And some of them are head scratching. And some of them are just profoundly head scratching. So we never know what we're going to get with Bill. But we are so appreciative and we bless you so much for joining us today. And now, as we move into our time of meditation, I invite you to place your feet on the floor, your hands loosely in your lap, and gently close your eyes to shut out any visual distractions. Allow yourself to go within. This is your time to commune with God. As we move into being one with the one. Let your breath move you into that deeper place of relaxation. Maybe breathing in to a count of 6 or 8, and then exhaling to a count of 8 or 10. Imagine breathing in light, breathing in love, and then exhale any tension or anxiety that you may be consciously or unconsciously holding on to. And with your next breath, imagine a beautiful white light hovering above your head and then filling your body as you breathe in. Maybe the light will hover at a certain place to heal that area. Or maybe it'll move gently through you like a wave. Starting at the top of your head, moving to your eyes, your cheeks, your throat, your core. And let it circle your entire body. As you sit in an orb of white light. I am love, and love surrounds me. I am love. That's all I know. I am life, and life surrounds me. I am health, and health surrounds me. I am peace, and peace surrounds me. Isn't that what we want? To be filled with divine love. To be filled with divine life and peace. To be filled with that peace that passes all understanding. In Keep a True Lit, the booklet, Richard Medici writes, "Your I am is the image and likeness of God within you. It is the idea that God had for you at the time of your creation. Your I am is the blueprint for God to express in human form through you. Ponder that. The only way God has to express is through you. And Charles Fillmore writes, the I am is the gate through which my thoughts come forth from the invisible. And it is through this gate that I go to get into the presence of Spirit. I hitch my I am to the star of God. And infinite joy follows, just as night follows day. As I build my consciousness in God-mind, I find heaven here on earth. In this consciousness, let us set our intention for a shared destiny of love, health, and peace for ourselves and for others as we create that I am bridge between heaven and earth. So focus, please, on your heart center and see a soft white light there. See it growing stronger and warmer and brighter. And through this energy, let us affirm together, I am love. Together. I am love. And again. I am love. And now as a whisper, I am love. And now silently to yourself, I am love. Think of someone you love. Love transcends our physical world, so you're free to draw to you whoever it is that you have loved in your life. And as you pull them into your consciousness, smile with them at that joy. Bless them. And thank them for that unique part of them that they shared with you. Everyone has a gift to give. Thank them for the gift that they gave you. And you can invite anybody else that you want into this circle of divine love. And with each addition, you feel love deepen and grow, radiating in and out, blessing those that you love and others. And move that love energy to your body. As Myrtle Fillmore said, thank your body. Is there any place that needs healing in your body? Move that consciousness of love to that spot and bless it. give gratitude. Our bodies serve us so well, and yet our words often demean them. And now, to heal others. Love's energy is not bound by this chair, this room, this space. It is from divine mind. Direct the love that you are feeling to blessing others, family members, friends, world leaders, people and nations around our world. See these people experiencing love and wisdom and peace. See our world experiencing peace. And as you go deeper into your meditation, I invite you to repeat the affirmation silently to yourself. I am love, and my love blesses the world. Corinthians 13:13. So now faith, hope, and love abide, these three, but the greatest of these is love. Thank you, God. Here's Bill.
This is such a special pleasure for me to be here with you, especially since I stood you up a month ago and I left the dinosaurs hanging out in space. I'm so grateful that you as a minister continue in such a wonderful way. I feel the consciousness that you represent in this community and the blessing that you share with the world. I want to begin by asking you a question, if I can. How many of you remember the outstanding lesson that I gave you about how I put on my underwear? I mean, let's see a show of hands. Well, you see, that's at least half of you, which shows you how powerful that kind of lesson was. So I want to begin with a very folksy kind of sharing that you perhaps will remember as well. I was getting ready to come down, and I was actually coming for a week. Some of you said, did you come through the snow to get here? No, I came a week in advance to be sure to be here this time. Anyway, and I was packing for a week, and I was walking around my house and giving thanks to the Father that I didn't forget anything. Literally, I walked around and I looked in every room, didn't leave any bags, I have it all. So I got in the car, put up the garage door, and suddenly I thought, you know, I probably should go to the boys' room before I go. So I got out of the car, went back in the house, and was, what shall I say, I was doing a man's thing. And I was standing there, and suddenly, just as clear as anything, I heard, "Your clothes are hanging in the closet." My coat, my pants, my dress-up uniform is still in the closet. But now Dorothy used to hear voices, but I didn't hear a voice. But that word just suddenly was in my head. The clothes are hanging in the closet. I had to show up here in Levi. And you would have accepted me, and I would have felt so dumb. And so, once again, I experienced what you folks I know have experienced, that we are so connected to the universal mind that is constantly there for us to open doors for us, to protect us, to guide us, and to sometimes give us that which we need to know. And again, that's the kind of words that people who are around religious formats can often hear, but to know it is an absolute truth. An absolute truth. However, as I've reminded us, we have to do something to allow it to work for us. You all remember that. What is the one thing that we have to do to allow us to have that kind of constant personal guidance, protection, and help? What is it? Somebody speak it out, huh? I failed.
Well, you gotta listen.
You gotta learn to love God with all your heart and soul and mind. That's the connector. When you love God with all your heart and soul and mind, and it isn't because God somewhere, as universal intelligence, says, you gotta love me or you get nothing. It's just that that's the link in mind. What I said at that time was that the experience of the extinction of the dinosaurs was an evidence of one of the most important parts of our unity teaching. And this last year, as I have spent so much time basically alone, I haven't gotten involved with any ministry. I've spoken here and there occasionally in that area, but basically I've been alone and meditating and cogitating and writing a book. And I have been so strengthened in the power of the unity message. I am confident there is no overall spiritual message that is all-inclusive of what is real in life than the unity message. And one of the things that is certainly unique to unity, that is so powerful, is the teaching of the 12 faculties of mind, the 12 powers, as some call it. I call it in my book, that you all obviously have bought, which is called the 12 freedoms. That concept of the 12 faculties is an insight that allows us to understand things as momentous as the extinction of the dinosaurs. I shared with you in the past that scientists in general cannot understand the extinction of the dinosaurs other than it was an amazing thing that happened. I think the dinosaurs had been around for like 125 million years. And then suddenly, they were just wiped out. And so scientists in general say, oh, that's the way it goes sometimes in this universe of ours. But as true students, what I've shared with us before is that had to happen because the purpose of life is the involvement of the Christ Spirit. It's the purpose of your life, and it's the purpose of the world that God has created. That this God idea, called spiritual beings or humans, must evolve to begin to experience the power and the magnificence and the wholeness of the consciousness expressed through Jesus Christ. That potential is within every one of us, and we daily should be about the business to some degree in our consciousness of bringing those faculties fully into expression in our lives in a balanced and harmonious way. When we get out of balance with any of those faculties, we get in trouble. I mean, one of those faculties is love, clearly. But if you love totally without wisdom, you're asking for trouble. And that's the way it is with all the faculties. So when we were talking about the dinosaur extinction in the past, we said that it was clear that evolution, the involvement of these ideas, had reached a point in evolution, which is 66 million years ago approximately, that one of those faculties in evolving had gotten out of control. And that was the faculty of strength. And that expression took place in the dinosaurs. The dinosaurs totally dominated the world. And so I was saying to you, that's why that happened. That's why the dinosaurs had to be wiped out. And that same consciousness that is related to each one of our lives in such an intimate way is indeed involved with the unfoldment of the world and this idea of the 12 faculties. And while it probably rarely intervenes in the process, if necessary, you can know that that intelligence will move in the world to allow the continuation of the Christ idea to unfold. So I said that, and I also said at that time that it was a theory that the dinosaurs were wiped out by an asteroid. It was a theory. It was a theory based on the fact that two men who were geologists, one was a father, one was a son, discovered in the Yucatan area a kind of powder that was only found in asteroids. And so they assumed that when they put a time gauge on that, that powder was around 66 million years old. They said that must have been when the asteroid hit the Earth and wiped out the dinosaurs. But they couldn't find a crater. There was no crater to evidence that this could have happened. So when I talked to you before about the dinosaurs, it was just theory. But I had this wonderful experience, in quotes happenstance, that is what made me say, I gotta share this with you folks, and that's why I was scheduled to speak a month ago on the last day of the dinosaurs. Because I just happened to be watching television, and I came across this NOVA program. I'm sure some of you have seen that. It's a wonderful sharing of usually what's going on in the scientific field. And it was about the extinction of the dinosaurs. What I learned was that it is no longer a theory. They know that the Earth was hit by an asteroid. And I want to tell you some of the facts about that experience. And these facts are not very spiritual, and you'll think, what do we come for, a science lesson? Just stay with me till we get to the end. First of all, let me tell you what, and by the way, you can bring this up on your computers. Bring up NOVA, the last day of the dinosaurs, and you'll see what I saw, and it's worth doing. I didn't know, for instance, I always thought the dinosaurs were sort of stuck in Jurassic Park somewhere. And as you probably know, those movies are ridiculous because there were no humans around when there were dinosaurs. But it makes good movie material. So, the dinosaurs We're not in Jurassic Park, or as I sort of thought, in places where the temperature was very high. The dinosaurs were everywhere on the face of the earth at that time. They were in the polar, South and North Pole area as well. I didn't know that the so-called, and I don't know that I'll pronounce this correctly, Tyrannosaurus Rex, which is the one the movies show on Jurassic Park, they were really little guys compared to some that they had on the face of the earth. Some dinosaurs, they had found relics of which are over 120 feet long. This is equivalent to about 5 buses and 5 elephant widths wide. Their skulls were 5 feet by 8 feet. 5 feet by 8 feet. Can you grab how big that was? And so there was no modest-sized mammals alive, because these things would gobble them up like nothing. So because evolution had developed this incredible form of life called the dinosaur, which, again, from a scientific thing, is just a fact. But from our perspective, we say, of course, those dinosaurs represent the power of strength that is in all of us to make us big. And it had gone afield. So we can understand that this needed to be dealt with. Let me tell you about the asteroid that hit the face of the Earth. It was 7 miles wide. No, let me back up. You might think, how do you know that? They discovered the crater, and you know how they discovered the crater? It was in the 80s when those geologists that I told you about assumed there had been an asteroid, but they couldn't find the crater. The biggest crater on the face of the Earth was in Arizona, and it was 165 feet wide. That's teeny compared to the crater that this asteroid created. It was 7 miles wide. Think with me for a minute. 7 miles. There's a sign between Sacramento and Roseville that says 7 miles. It's like getting in your car, leaving Sacramento, and you drive all the way to Roseville, and you're driving on the face of the asteroid. That's how big it was. 7 miles wide. It was traveling, excuse me, I'm a little rusty at this business of giving talks. So I want to go back again to tell you how it was that I came to appreciate the size of this thing, or how I know these facts again, but I really want to share them. When those guys, the 2 geologists, found the powder in Yucatan area, they couldn't find the crater, and that was in the 80s. But somebody had already found the crater, but they didn't know that. And that was a geologist who was a petroleum geologist looking for oil. And he was looking off the shore of Yucatan in the Pacific Ocean area, and he discovered a huge circle, magnetic circle, under the water. And as the geologists learned about that in the 90s, they thought, oh yeah, when you take granite and you pack it down to a certain density, it becomes magnetic. So anyway, what you'll find when you go to the NOVA program is that they have, since '91, they have spent millions of dollars to go out and explore this crater. And it is in doing that they discovered how wide this crater is. The crater is 124 miles wide. The crater that the asteroid hit is 124 miles wide. I want you to think now how big that is. I'll give you a good analogy again. I live in Reno. It's 125 miles from here. That's how big the crater is. It's 20 miles deep, this crater. Remember what I said? The biggest crater known visibly is the one in Arizona. It's 150 feet wide, compared to 124 miles wide. So anyway, back to the asteroid that came, that created this. 7 miles wide, and they say, knowing what they know about asteroids now, scientifically, it must have been traveling at 40,000 miles an hour. Something as wide as from here to Roseville is traveling 40,000 miles an hour. It represented trillions of tons of molten rock. When it hit the Earth, they estimate that it was equal to millions, perhaps even billions, of atomic bombs. Do you realize how incredible that is? I want you to, that's why I went through all these facts. How incredible is something so massive could hit the Earth the way it did. And what did it do? It set up a flash of heat that went literally around the Earth. And the Earth also was shaken up so that the tectonic sheets that cause earthquakes were shook up all over the Earth, and volcanoes started erupting at the same time. So that in practically no time, the whole Earth was encased in ash and darkness. There's no agreement at this point in time how fast the dear dinosaurs' demise. Some believe they were gone within 3 or 4 days. After 25 million years of dinosaurs, they were gone maybe in 3 or 4 days. Some say it took probably a little longer, maybe a matter of months. But they were gone. Happenstance? Or was it again evidence to us of what I affirmed for us individually when I began with the story about the underwear and all? That God has a definite interest in the unfoldment of your soul. And the point of our lesson today is that God has an absolute personal interest in the involvement of our physical earth. And that's how complicated and as confusing and sometimes today depressing it can get. I can assure you that nothing is going to keep the earth from continuing its primary purpose, which is an environment for the unfoldment of the Christ, to which we're all contributing in our own lives. I'm not wanting to, in the slightest, suggest that something as horrendous as another asteroid is going to be necessary to our unfoldment, because we're too far along now. Again, I just love the unity message, because we have reached a point in consciousness now. At the time of the dinosaurs, of course, there was no self-reflectivity at all. That didn't happen until we got to the primate stage. So as we've evolved to where we are, there's no turning back. Because as centers of consciousness, each one of us are in an advanced stage of discovering and bringing forth the Christ of our own being. And that is true of humankind in general. As depressed as we might get cross that out. As unhappy as we might get sometimes with the progress of what's happening in the human race, if you look at it in the light again of our unity teachings, you realize there are such wonderful things that are happening in our world that evidence the fact that we are growing. We are getting closer and closer to the realization that we are all one, and that love is the dominant force of the universe, and the best is yet to be. Now I want to close by telling you the thing that shook me as I listened to Nova, after all these facts that I listened to and that I've shared with you. The very end of it said, it is interesting to note that had that asteroid been about 3 seconds earlier or 3 seconds later, it wouldn't have destroyed the dinosaurs. And I thought, holy moly, what an incredible evidence of the power and the purpose of the consciousness that controls our universe and our world, that this huge thing traveling 40,000 miles an hour came in a 3-second control, that it had to land on solid surface. Because what they realized is, had it been 3 seconds earlier, it would have landed in the Pacific water. Had it been 3 seconds later, it would have been in the Atlantic water. And while there would have been an immediate flood of water in that area, it wouldn't have shook the earth because it had been cushioned by an tremendous expanse of water. It had to hit that little piece of solid ground. You say, well, if it had been up in Northern America, it could have easily hit the ground. No, because if it had been up there, it wouldn't have had the impact on the earth. It had to be somewhere closer to the equator. So it hit in that wonderful area of the Yucatan. You know, it's just incredible. The universal mind of God that is pure love, pure at one with us all, is constantly shaping and directing the unfoldment of this divine purpose of the Christ. That's all, folks. Let's close. I would like to close with a moment of stillness. And I give thanks that when we share insights as we shared today, that it helps us to break through that area of consciousness that lets us live life in sort of a normalcy. Let us give thanks that we live in that constant sense of this presence that is all-powerful, all-loving, all-present, to guide our lives individually and to work through us and all humankind to bring forth Christ on earth. Thank you, blessed presence, for the wonder of our being able to know you and gradually to understand you more perfectly as our own very being. Thank you, God. Amen.
Thank you, Sharon. Yes. We can call this a Appreciation Sunday because we just appreciate all of those people who do so much behind the scenes to make this flow. So as we consecrate our offering, these gifts are blessed and received in the consciousness of the giver. May you know that as you give, you will receive, and that there is no limit to the good that God has in store for you. Thank you, God. And now let us stand and join hands and sing our peace song.
Surrounds you, the love of God enfolds you, the power of God protects you, and the presence of God watches over you. Wherever you are, God is. So it is.